Drug addiction is a big problem in our society today. And if you've got a son or a daughter who's struggling with drug addiction, well, today we're going to talk about some ideas that can help you help them. This YouTube channel, Principle-Based Living, is all about understanding the laws or the principles that govern this world in which we live. And so today we're going to talk about how you can use the knowledge or understanding of those principles to help you if you've got a son or a daughter who's struggling with addiction. So it's important to understand, first of all, that everything we do in this life we do for a reason. If you have a son or a daughter who is dealing with addiction, then there's a reason for that. But if you were to go back and to look at your child and how that addiction began, it most likely will be based on a situation where they were curious about something, and so they tried a drug. They wanted to fit in with friends, so they were uncomfortable or fearful of being different, and so they wanted to be accepted. Or it could be that they were feeling some emotional state that they didn't like. So maybe they were feeling sad or depressed, or they were fearful, and somebody offered them a drug or alcohol or whatever that may be. And when they used that drug, then that emotional state that they experienced changed to where they felt better about themselves. The fear, the anxiety, the sadness, the hopelessness, whatever it is, went away. And so the way that the subconscious part of our brain works is the subconscious does not question anything. It just kind of observes, notices, and accepts, and then looks for evidence to support what the subconscious believes just occurred. If I use a substance and I'm in a place that I have a negative state, and I use a substance and then I'm in a positive state, my subconscious will go, okay, that works. And if I don't want to feel this negative place, then this has worked for me in the past. So I may do it again, try it again. And if it works again, that reinforces the belief that when I'm sad, if I take this drug, then the sadness goes away. And if we repeat those behaviors long enough, then they become habits or patterns in the subconscious part of our brain. And we don't even have to consciously think about it anymore. We're triggered by the emotion or the situation, and then we just jump to the behavior to change this emotional state. So something happens and I feel sad, and instead of realizing that it's my thought about this event that's creating the sadness, I think the event is creating it, and the solution to it is using this drug or this substance. So I jump right to that, and for the short term, it works. And so if we understand that everything we do for a reason, all behavior really is learned. And when we find something that works, we just repeat it. But then over time, we can create patterns, and those patterns or those habits can become difficult to change or to break. In order to help son or a daughter with addiction, I need to understand, first of all, that the addiction is a symptom of what the real problem is. And so if I just focus on the addiction and I focus on trying to get my son or daughter to stop or to give up the addiction, probably not going to work. You've heard of switching addictions or trading addictions, where a person will be addicted to one thing, but then they move to something else. Well, that's an example of understanding or seeing that there's something underneath the addiction, and the addiction is addressing that on a short-term basis. So if I give this up, well, now I have to find something else to deal with this, so I'll switch the addiction to something else. The other thing to understand is the principle of control. The only things that we can control are our own conscious thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors. I have no ability to control my son or daughter's behavior, which means I can't stop them from using substances. They are the only ones that can do that. They have a choice of what they're going to do. And so understanding that helps me then look at my behavior, because if I have a belief that I can control them and I can make them stop, then I'm going to behave in a way consistent with that belief. And think about in your own life, when somebody is trying to control you, when somebody is trying to tell you what to do or what not to do, how do you respond to that? Most of us don't like other people trying to control us. And that's because we all want to be in control of our own life. And the second reason is I think we send an underlying message when we're trying to change somebody else. An underlying message is that the way you are is not okay and that you need to change in order to be okay. And all of us struggle with self-esteem and with self-worth. So if somebody is trying to change me and the message that I'm getting from that is I'm not okay, and I already have a feeling that maybe I'm not okay, then it's going to be difficult for me to really look at that. I'm going to want to resist that because I want to be okay, and I'm going to put up walls. And oftentimes what happens when we try to control others is we invite more of the behavior that we're trying to correct or to eliminate. So if I understand that, then what I know is I can't control them, but what I can do is I can influence them. And then you have to look at, okay, well, what kinds of people or what people have influence over you in your life? And why do you allow them to influence you? Why do you respect them? Why do you listen to them? And then look at, what is your relationship like with your son or daughter? Do they trust you? Do they respect you? Do they like you? Do you spend time together doing positive, fun things? Or is all of the interaction between the two of you kind of negative, and it's all focused on you trying to correct them, and as a result they really don't want anything to do with you. They don't want to spend time with you because whenever they're around you they just feel worse about themselves. So again, understanding that as a parent, knowing that I can't control them, that all I can do is influence them, that will help me look at, well, what can I do to improve my relationship with my son or daughter? And then the next thing to understand is the way that we can help people change behaviors is by information. And so as you develop a relationship with them and they begin to trust you more and to respect you more, that will allow you or give you the opportunity to share with them new information that may help them have a better understanding of why they are making the choices that they're making. And with that knowledge and information, they may then have the desire to want to change. So again, realize that if they don't want to change, you can't make them change. So we want to help them get to a place where they want to change, and then we want to be able to provide them information, tools, and support to help them make the change. And if you have a son or a daughter who is struggling with addiction, they are most likely going to need some external help and support to make that change once they get to that point. But the first step is helping them get to that point, and then look at, okay, what kind of family support do we have? Is there a therapist that we can bring in to be part of the team that can help continue to educate your son or daughter and to give them additional tools? Or is there a support group that your son or daughter can participate in, or a self-help group? So oftentimes what individuals need who are in that state of addiction is they need to feel good enough about themselves that they are comfortable reaching out to people that they trust. And so it's important that they have a team of support who know them, who understand them, who see them for who they are, who see the value in them. And then if your son and daughter trust them, they will be comfortable enough to reach out to them when they are struggling. And then we can use that team of support to help them get through that time or that situation where maybe they're craving or they're wanting to go back to those old patterns. Over time, those old behaviors and those old thoughts and beliefs will begin to change. As a parent, it's also important to realize that in addiction, the relapse is part of recovery. And so oftentimes we're afraid of relapse, and that's why the relationship needs to be strong, because there needs to be trust on both sides. Trust that my son or daughter really wants to change. And so if they do slip up, it's not because they're being sneaky or they're wanting to go back to old patterns and old behaviors, that maybe it's part of the process and I just messed up. We can then use that slip up as an opportunity to learn and to look at, okay, well, what do we need to do different, or what are some additional things to put into place to help your son or daughter moving forward to not repeat that pattern again. So everything that happens can be used to strengthen the plan and to give your son or daughter more tools and more information to make healthier choices moving forward. Know this, that addiction is a long-term process, and that very seldom is it just fixed and it's over. There are patterns that have been created over time, and it takes time to create new patterns. But again, the most important thing that you can do with your son or daughter is to see them as a person, to recognize that there are reasons why they are doing what they are doing. Try to identify what is that underlying cause or belief, and then help them figure out, well, how do I meet that in a healthy way? And then be patient with them moving forward, but make sure you have healthy boundaries, because what you don't want to do is reinforce the non-working behaviors that actually influence them to move back into their addiction. And if you want to know more about enabling behaviors, we have videos on our YouTube channel talking specifically about enabling that you can watch and that I think you'll find helpful. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, and if this is helpful to you and you have other family members or friends, share this information with them. If you'd like to know more about who we are and what we do, you can visit our website at principlebasedliving.com. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, be sure and follow me here.